Hey there, Go community. Zack CB and I are back together for the first time in a while, and we're talking about a controversial article posted by one of our members that talks about retro games being a waste of time and money. News is a bit overshadowed this week, but we still talk about some delays and cancellations over at Ubisoft, and new games discussed include Coromon, The Quarry, and also DC League of Super Pets. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 407 of The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It is Sunday, July 24th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my friends, Zach Parkerson. What's up, man?
Good, man. You're looking handsome today.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And Chris Berensmeyer.
I was about to say, Scott, you really need to put a shirt on.
You know, I was just thinking, this is the first time the three of us have recorded a podcast in a while.
Yeah,
like,
I was thinking about that when I was walking this morning. I was like, "Oh man, it's gonna be the OG crew."
Yeah, it's been a hot minute, so I'm kind of looking forward to chatting with the two of you guys. It's been a crazy week. I don't know. I don't really have anything much to report. Let's just jump into the games that we've been catching up on. Zach, how is Mass Effect coming?
Well, I finished the first Mass Effect, got the Platinum Trophy. I don't mind saying.
Mm-hmm.
It was which is interesting because I was like 25, 30 hours to get a platinum, and I
for
tried
the
to do
platinum, not just to beat it, but to get the platinum.
Right, and I was trying to do all the side quests and stuff, so I was being very thorough, and it just reminded me of games used to be shorter.
Mm-hmm.
But it was nice to play a contained RPG like that. But I told myself I was going to take a small break before jumping into Mass Effect 2. And that lasted for about 30 to 40 minutes before I immediately booted up Mass Effect 2. And it was great. I did the import your character thing or whatever. My character looked ghoulish by comparison to his Mass Effect 1 appearance, which I thought was funny. But
Why?
I decided to roll with it anyway. I don't know. It must have been something about... Because I know like scars, if you had a scar in the first game, it doesn't transport over. So maybe some of my sliders got messed up or something, but it was just really funny. So I decided to roll with it anyway.
Nice.
But Mass Effect 2 is an immediately better game.
I hear that. I hear that a lot.
The combat is better right away. The RPG mechanics are much, much lessened in terms of like your ability points and skill trees and inventory and stuff, which is definitely a little lame. But it was not really the first Mass Effect strengths anyway. It's more in the role playing of the decision making and stuff. And
right,
yeah, man, I'm loving living my space opera sci-fi fantasies out, and I'm happy to decide to jump back into these games instead of leaving them where my memory left them because I just love them a lot more than I used to, for sure.
Now you're playing them on the remastered collection, right?
Right, yeah, the Legendary Edition, all the DLC and stuff, and improvements here or there. It's great.
You think you're going to go for the platinum on 2 as well?
Definitely. I can't have the platinum in the first one and not have the platinum in the second one. I would look like such a fool.
Well, then you got to... Isn't there like a lot of scanning of planets or something that takes a lot of time?
Right, sure. You can a lot of scanning and probing of planets. You can definitely probe Uranus. All the
Uranus.
essentials.
Come on.
Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake. I didn't know that. Yeah, but no, it's fun. I don't know. The platinum looks a little bit trickier here than the first game. I haven't looked at the trophies for the third game because I also remember, I was in the camp of people that hated the ending to the third game. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes this time.
Okay.
At least now I'm mentally prepared for how terrible it'll be. At least.
I was about to say, if you're going to platinum 1 and 2, you're going to have to platinum 3.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, that's true. I have to. You're right. I can't look foolish out here.
Yeah.
Pretty much. CB, what about you?
More of that sweet, sweet power washing love.
Oh my goodness. I had to drag myself away from Power Wash Simulator to get ready for this recording because I was playing that today as well.
I'm telling you, it's addicting.
I don't know if you listened last week, Zach, but he is 100% accurate with this game being number one and one of the most relaxing experiences I've ever played. And it's I don't know if it's us being old men now, CB, because I liked a game called Lawn Mowing Simulator, and now we've got a Power Wash Simulator that you and I both like. It's like these chores that we do in real life are somehow super satisfying in a video game format. I don't understand, but
video games are just preparing us for the next wave.
Is that what it is?
Yep. when everything's drone automated and we're like, yep, I'm just going to send my drone out to power wash my house now.
When we're in that Wall-E universe, we're just like, I remember back in the day when I had to power wash my...
How far in are you?
Not far. I'm only on the, I did the van. You have to like power wash your van for your power wash company. And then I got hired to do like somebody's backyard, which is, you know, patio and a little shed and a lawnmower and a
the little barbecue grill.
Little barbecue grill. And the nice thing about this is that you really don't have to get every single little nook and cranny. I feel like they're very forgiving about giving you, you know, I don't know, it feels like it's about 90% clean and then it just magically all goes clean.
Yeah, that'll change some.
Does it? Okay. But Zach, you know how like it's really satisfying in those old Assassin's Creed games when you'd have the map and you'd like 100% that one little section, and then it would be like it would change a color, and then it just has that. I'm hand gesturing like you can see me, and then it just you get that super satisfying feeling. All right, that section's done, and then you go to another one and just slowly chip away at what you're doing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you mean for sure.
So Power Wash Simulator is very similar to that. Except when you're doing one tiny item, you're washing one item, it'll give you this satisfying ding sound, like when you clean the tires of the van, or when you get the hubcaps clean, or when you do the window, or when you do the mirror, or when you do one of the headlights. Like all this, just tiny little bits add up to finally getting 100% of whatever it is you're power washing, and it is incredibly satisfying. And you're not joking, CB. I seriously felt like I was playing for 10 minutes, and it was like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It just, the time flies, and it's so good. I just want to be playing that game, and I
just wait till you do one of the really, really big ones, like the skate park.
Yeah, I saw the one that I was at your house, and you were doing, it was like a giant helicopter, which like you have to actually like get up on top of it and stuff like that.
That's late in the game.
No, I'm not saying that was at your house.
Oh, so I actually just unlocked the final power washer.
Okay.
Wow.
Powerful?
So remember when I was having to like knock the rust off like those tiny spots?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the wider beam just knocks the rust off everything.
Nice.
So I flew through the last mission that I did. It took me like 5 minutes to do the whole thing. And it was this huge, like, amusement park slide.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm like, I feel like it's a race to the finish now.
I think Zach thinks we're crazy. Game.
You guys are not alone. I feel like I'm hearing about this game online constantly almost. So I think what a weird hit, but a hit it is for Square Enix.
It's really good. My only thing is I really wish I were playing with a mouse and keyboard. And I can't believe I'm saying that because I'm not really good with 3D movement with the mouse and keyboard just because I'm so comfortable with the controller. But I just feel like power washing and you know doing those stripes back and forth and everything would just be so much more satisfying with the mouse than I'm learning as I'm playing this that I'm way more accurate with my left thumbstick than I am my right thumbstick. Do you notice that, CB, when you're playing it?
A little, yeah.
Just in the fact that you can stand still and point the nozzle in any direction, and they just give you so much freedom of movement, and you can actually go in the prone position to get the underside of things like that. And they've
snake.
Got right, and the you missed a spot button is just it's just so good. I don't want to go too long on Power Wash Simulator, but it is.
Oh no,
really good.
It's your new hobby.
Seriously, I don't understand why you love this so much, and you give me a hard time about Lawn Mowing Simulator. You should seriously try Lawn Mowing Simulator.
I did. To me, it was just no. This is a miserable experience.
It's the same kind of concept. Same kind of concept, man.
I don't know what to tell you, man. There's just something about it that I'm like, nope, I don't like this.
The great simulator debate rages on.
I know, right? What's next? I don't even know. There's not going to be another simulator that's going to be nearly as satisfying as power washing, I feel.
I'm sure they'll find something because we've had house flipper, power wash simulator, mowing simulator, airplane simulator, PC building simulator, car mechanic simulator.
Yeah.
I
I'm
want
just
a
speaking to myself.
newspaper printing press simulator 1942. That's what I want.
Just setting all the type and then just
Yes.
dink.
Oh, sounds so satisfying.
No,
Actually,
you'd have to
setting all
do
the
it even
type-
earlier than that.
I mean, that's just like Photoshop, right? Or whatever art program Nate uses to make our logos and stuff. Just set everything.
Yeah, but you have to remember everything is the negative reverse.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Right. Well, you'll be in the warehouse. You got to walk around. Yeah, it'll be intense, man. You'll see.
Anyway, I also finished Portal 2 today on Switch with the companion collection. You're gonna laugh at me when I say this, but I played through the entire thing without even looking up a single thing, which it sounds like something I should be proud of or shouldn't be proud of because I've played the game so many times. So obviously I should know the puzzles, but you'd be surprised how many times you sit there and stare at the thing for a while. Like, I don't remember how to do this. I know it's possible, but I just don't see what I'm supposed to do. And I never cheated once. I've cheated in the past, but I refused this time. I wanted to see if I could make it all the way through without looking up at a single thing. So,
Wow. So I guess it's not true. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Not a true thing.
yeah, there you
People
go.
can grow.
All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. You guys ready?
Sure.
Yeah.
So the news is a little light this week because guess what? San Diego Comic-Con happened this week, and that's all any of the news outlets want to talk about is Marvel and DC and Marvel. And
Shazam!
there's just, seriously, it drives me crazy scouring news sites that are supposed to be video game sites, and all they talk about is movies. Drives me crazy. Is there sites that exist that just talk about video games?
Yeah, there's one.
Which one?
GamingOutsider.com.
Hell yeah.
True.
The only I can think of Push Square and Video Games Chronicle are the only two I can think of that don't allow any other medium news in there.
It just drives me crazy. I
And us,
understand.
of course.
Businesses need to generate clicks, and that will definitely generate clicks, and there's a lot of cross-pollination, but sometimes I just want some video game news. I don't want to read about She-Hulk and Sandman and all this.
Tell me about it. Do you know how hard it is to find comic book news from Comic-Con?
Oh, like actual comic news?
Yes. You have to, it's like going through a minefield, man. It's insane.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But anyway, some things did happen. Ubisoft delayed 2 games and canceled 4 others. Naughty Dog outlined what's new in the Last of Us remake. Papers, Please is coming to mobile devices. And Killzone Mercenary, Killzone Shadowfall, and Riggs Mechanized Combat League's online servers are officially shutting down next month. Zach, I haven't talked to you the longest, so what story would you like to talk about?
Holy crap, man! Yeah, definitely a slow news week. I guess I can dunk on The Last of Us a little bit more.
Okay, I'm glad somebody brought this up because I get angry talking about this, but I had to put in my 2 cents. Go ahead.
Right, yeah. So Naughty Dog, showed off a 10, 11-minute gameplay presentation. They showed off The Last of Us Part 1. It does. I mean, admittedly, it does look like as good as Part 2. There is some reworked gameplay, though. I feel like they didn't really go in depth on like what a combat sequence looks like.
Conveniently.
Yes, quite conveniently. What are they saying? Seamless transitions between sequences, enhanced enemy and companion AI. You can break stuff in combat. That's worth $70. There's permadeath, a speedrun mode, some more outfits, and I guess the truest cool thing is probably the additional accessibility features. Since The Last of Us Part 2 kind of made headlines because blind people can play it start to finish with how thorough the accessibility features are. So that's certainly cool, but it's also shouldn't you just kind of update your old game with that stuff
instead of charging $70 for a new version of it?
Yeah, like I saw. I look. I'm not disabled, but there's that organization that works with a lot of peers out there, and they're like, hey, for people that need accessibility features, it's absolutely worth the $70. I'm like, shouldn't you instead be holding PlayStation to the standard of like, well, why if you made The Last of Us Part 2 possible, why not patch in the ability for the first game? Why are you charging disabled people $70 to play a game that already exists for everybody else?
Well, that's a slippery slope.
Don't even get me started, man. This is a box that you don't want to open.
No, I'm saying it's exclusively just because you're making it a selling point, right? It feels a little dirty, not totally dirty, but just a little dirty to be like, man, remember all those awards we won for Last of Us Part 2's accessibility? Well, if you want to play the beginning of that story, it'll cost you $70, even though it's $5 for everybody else. So they just want to play the old version.
Oh, looking at it from that angle, I guess I could see that. But I look at it more as this is a going forward thing since Last of Us Part 2. Like any Naughty Dog game from here on out is going to have these accessibility features, right?
And that's great. That's great. Of course.
So what do they do? Do they have these people somehow prove that they're disabled and then give them the discount? I mean, then you're gonna have a mess on your hands.
No, that's why I think. Hey, but PlayStation's not interested in goodwill, so it doesn't. The idea of them patching in accessibility to the first part of the story so everybody can experience the whole saga, at the same level, is not something PlayStation's interested in.
Well, what's funny is we're gonna get the inevitable combo pack, right?
Right. Yes.
Where now you can get
100%.
part 1 and part 2, in a bundle for a convenient price of $50. We're not done with the series, and then part 3 is gonna come out at some point, right?
Probably. I don't know.
It'll be next generation, and then we'll have to sit through a remaster of 1 and 2 for the next generation too.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. If the show takes off, part 3 looks more likely for sure. Because right now it seems a little iffy, just because The Last of Us Part 2 sold half the copies Last of Us Part 1 did.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah. So
it was such a much more fun game.
I agree.
Interesting. I don't know. I hate to be super negative, but there's just nothing about this entire list of quote features that makes this seem like worth $70. I understand that doing these things does take a lot of work, but
actually where the perfect place to put this game would have been?
Where? PlayStation.
On your subscription service.
Yeah.
It's an old game. It's not a new game.
They definitely aren't interested in that. They seem to want their subscription service to be the worst deal possible.
This honestly, to me, would have been like the perfect thing to be like, hey, if you pick this up within this time frame, you get this for free.
Yeah. Well, they're also PlayStation's aware they're in a Nintendo. They've been aged into the Nintendo camp of we can just do whatever we want to our customers and they will just buy everything anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't they do this, right? Because this is everyone will eat this up.
It's true.
They'll complain about it online and then pay $70 for it anyway.
Exactly. And to your point about complaining it online is I feel somewhat vindicated when I read the comments to things like this on Twitter and other social media. I've not seen one person that's like, oh yeah, I can't wait to buy this day one. Everyone's like, you got to be kidding me.
Right. And even the people that are buying it $70 are like, yeah, I know it's dumb, but I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah. At least they're honest, but.
Right.
I don't know.
I just don't understand this product top to bottom. A lot of what they showed off here, like a speed run mode or permadeath mode or new costumes, I feel like a lot of other developers just kind of give you that when you upgrade to next gen, or or it'll be, like 2K charges a $10 upgrade fee, which is already, I thought, scummy, but now they're starting to look like Saints by comparison, because this really does just look like it's not a $70. What they showed is an absolute joke at $70.
What price point would you guys pick it up at?
$19.99.
About where I was.
I would say I think the perfect, I don't know. The perfect idea would be like, let's touch up The Last of Us Part 2 and give it a full PS5 upgrade as well. Bundle them together, $60.
Okay. I like that a little bit better. Yeah.
And you get factions access or something, because you have to also remember, not only are they charging you $10 more than what the game cost when it originally came out,
they're giving you less.
You only get the campaign.
Mm-hmm. And I'm shocked at how many people loved that multiplayer.
So they love it so much that Naughty Dog is making a separate mode, or it's a standalone game now.
Right.
Instead of, it was supposed to be tacked on Last of Us Part 2 down the line, but now they're like, well, it's our biggest Naughty Dog project ever. So yeah, people love factions. So it's bizarre that they're charging you more for less.
I agree.
And again, like, so a lot of I'm sure we've said all this before, but a lot of companies do remakes, right? Like Dead Space is getting a remake, for instance. But a lot of those games aren't readily available, aren't the marquee game of an entire console brand, isn't given away to every PS4 owner, right? Like the PS Plus collection, everybody has The Last of Us in their catalog.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so readily available anywhere. And the most if you want to buy it on its own, the most you'll have to pay for it is $10. It's on sale constantly. You can go get a physical copy at GameStop, I think, for $8.99 right now. It's just, this looks so scummy.
Mm-hmm. I got, this was back in the day, but like when I upgraded to PS4, they gave me the PS4 version, the remaster, for free.
Yes,
like, I'm not asking them to do that with this. I understand it's not the same thing, but still.
You know what it is actually somewhat similar to? Spider-Man on PS5, which was only a $20 upgrade.
Right.
But that was a top to bottom Insomniac. They put out the videos where they're like, here's what we're changing and how it's changing everything, and combat's been fine-tuned, and for some reason we gave Peter a new face. And all that was only $20.
$20. Yeah. Same
not
game.
A good look.
I don't know. Well, anyway, we should probably move on. CB, what else here interests you?
Oh, well, I guess let's talk about Ubisoft.
What's going on with Ubisoft?
What's left of the company to talk about?
Yeah, this really gets me worried because okay, first off, let's run down the list real quick. Delayed games. Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, and a smaller premium game. So a game to be named at a later date.
They said that Avatar Frontiers of Pandora was delayed because they wanted to make sure they were delivering a, quote, perfect game. So,
small aspirations.
Yeah. The rumor about this
mode.
What's that?
They should add a third-person mode to Avatar.
It's a first-person game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't...
Does that not... And you're playing as a Na'vi. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So whenever I talk to a human, I have to look down.
Well, that's kind of funny, but yeah, it's a species that's like jumping around from treetop to treetop. They're very agile. It's not a character I ever thought I'd want to play from the first person perspective.
No, I don't know.
I mean, I hope you don't get motion sick.
To be fair, I said the same thing about the RoboCop game, which I wasn't here for that episode when you guys talked about that, but I don't want to play RoboCop in first person.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I didn't even because he's got all those vision modes.
Yeah. So for that, it makes sense.
Yeah, that one didn't bother me.
I want to see RoboCop. I want to, you know what I mean?
No,
like,
definitely. No, I understand.
You'll see him in
that.
cutscenes.
You want to see RoboCop taking cover.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Gears of War.
I heard a rumor that the smaller premium game was a Assassin's Creed game as well. I don't have any evidence of that or any concrete info, but
It doesn't sound smaller.
Like those. Remember those? What were they?
The
Russia,
Chronicles?
The Chronicles games. Yeah.
China, India, and Russia.
No, I see what you mean. Okay. Yeah, maybe.
Well, those were terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So canceled games. Splinter Cell VR game canceled.
That's fine.
Ghost Recon Frontline canceled.
That one's crazy because we've seen like trailers and stuff. That was a Battle Royale one, right?
Yeah. And 2 unannounced titles. So 2 games that we didn't even know.
It was Beyond Good and Evil 3. They were skipping right to it.
Oh, man.
I forgot about that, actually.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, technically that's still being made, I guess.
That was my guess of the smaller premium game, but I guess they wouldn't care about
I wouldn't consider that a
2.
smaller premium game.
Who knows? Who knows what it is?
Yeah.
Not even Michelle Ancel knows.
Probably.
There is still a remake of the original Splinter Cell coming.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope, the game that I have no idea who wants, is still coming out as well.
One, man.
And Skull and Bones is surprisingly coming out, but with the worst possible release date.
Right. They dare to release one day before God of War.
Oh, good luck, guys.
Yeah.
this game you've been dragging through the mud for 6 years, and you're gonna let's put it up against probably the second best game of the year next to Elden Ring. This will be fine. No one's excited for God of War, right?
They're counting on God of War getting delayed.
Moving off of maybe. Well, just reading through this though, I'm like, there were some big titles here that you're canceling.
Did somehow X-Defiant made the cut? that game still come along somehow.
Well, this makes me worried because like we're slowly watching Ubisoft like fold in on itself, and they're the flag bearers of Assassin's Creed, which makes me worried because that's like one of my favorite franchises.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely looks like a company.
Yeah, I don't want to see anything happen to.
Right, Ubisoft might be, it's probably too big to truly fail. Right, they would get bought out or something, or saved by the Canadian government or something. But this looks like a company. It's death flails right now.
Yeah, this is getting really worrisome, and yeah, I have a feeling somebody's gonna have to step in and buy them out.
No, I hope not.
I wouldn't. I'm not wanting to see it happen because I have a feeling it will be PlayStation.
We'll see.
Nintendo buys Ubisoft just for Mario and Rabbids.
That'd be sick.
that would probably be the better or the more likely step, right? Because they've already got the relationship.
But when was the last time Nintendo had Assassin's Creed on anything?
4.
Well, I guess the
4 and Rogue.
The remasters on Switch.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just worry about Ubisoft because they have so many titles that I really enjoy. But like Zach, I don't want them just to be bought out and just be a part of a bigger thing. And either.
I think the problem was they went too wide.
What do you mean?
It's funny you say that because I feel like they only have like 3 or 4 franchises.
They have 3 or 4, but they've picked up like all these other little things along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because like they were like, oh, we're doing Avatar, Splinter Cell VR, Ghost Recon, Mario and Rabbids, all these trash like little titles that they put out for handheld stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it actually blew my mind when I was looking through the DS library, like how much stuff was made by Ubisoft.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just they've done like so much of that over the years that now it's getting to the point that like we have so many big projects that we've been working on forever, like Beyond Good and Evil, that has gone nowhere.
We haven't heard a peep of that in 2 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than there was some news article like 2 months ago. It was like, Beyond Good and Evil 2 developer says it's one of the best games they've ever made. Well, yeah, I would hope so, man. That's like the only thing we've heard in 2 years. Right. And of course, with Michel Ancel retiring from video games to go work with wildlife 2 weeks before he was supposed to be investigated for misconduct.
I was going to say the whole controversy stuff going on isn't helping Ubisoft's case either. It's everywhere, obviously.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, that's a good point. No mention of the Sands of Time remake, guys. Don't hold your.
Oh my goodness, I forgot about that too.
that was I bet you that was a smaller premium game.
No, because they've already it's been delayed indefinitely. Is what the last thing we've heard about Sands of Time.
Yeah,
it's just
okay. So it was the 2 unannounced titles.
The 2 games I care about from Ubisoft. Not a peep.
But I mean,
interesting.
This is it's just weird timing though, because also Ubisoft just put out Far Cry 6.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember the last Ubisoft game I cared about.
Well, it's because you didn't play Far Cry 5.
It's true. I have not played Far Cry 5 yet. I own it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Physical. But yeah.
But
as a gift, whether I wanted it or not.
I really think though Skull and Bones is going to be the reckoning for Ubisoft. Like if that game flops as hard as we all think it is,
I don't see any world where Skull and Bones is a success.
Yeah, but as much money as they've pumped into that, and as long as it's been, if that tanks as hard as we all think it's going to, and more than likely will, something's going to happen.
I think if that game had come out 2 years ago, it would have been more successful. I feel like it's too late.
right, because yeah, if you're on PC or Xbox, why would you pay for the $60 Skull and Bones when you have the free-to-play Sea of Thieves?
That's a good point too. Although there's combat in there too, I guess.
I know they're two very different styles. I just feel like Pirates is already a pretty small market.
When I can just boot up Black Flag and play essentially the same thing.
Yeah, with more to do. You can get off your ship for more than just looking at all the cosmetics you can purchase.
Well, anyway, I also wanted just to mention quickly that the game Papers, Please is coming to mobile devices what is the date here? August 5th. The only reason I mentioned this is more personal for me because I never played the original game. It was on PC and Vita back in 2013. I never got a chance to play this game, but I heard people rave about it, even though it's kind of a simplistic idea. Did either of you ever play this game?
Nope.
No, I think I've had it on my Vita since about 2013, but no, I've never played it.
I don't know. I feel like just what I know, the little I know about that game, I feel like it would be a good fit on a mobile device because it's not.
Yeah, actually, this sounds perfect.
Yeah, you play as a border checkpoint clerk in a fictional country where you have to determine if people who are trying to cross the border are legitimate or not. But apparently, there's a lot of social commentary and things going on. Like some people are lying, some people are legit, and you have to make a determination whether or not to let them through or not.
Right, because some people do have ill intent, whereas others are just like trying to get, it might be a wife trying to get to her husband and kids in the country, but the documents aren't right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued by it. It's it's not super high intense graphics. I think that's pretty pixelated if I remember correctly, but it's been a while.
They made a some country made a movie.
Some country made a movie about Papers, Please?
Correct.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, I just now I'm speaking out of turn because I can't remember which country it was, but yeah, it was definitely a foreign film based on Papers, Please. But yeah, I think mobile sounds perfect, and this way you can have like an existential crisis while you're laying down and going to bed.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like the game would stress me out. It really would, like making the right decision or not making the right decision. So
it's not. I don't think it's a bedtime mobile game, but I still think mobile is the perfect platform for it.
I agree. So
shout out to Killzone Mercenary. That's the best Killzone game. Beat exclusive. Sorry, RIP.
Yeah, I never played it.
It was great.
Yeah, these stories don't affect me personally, but it still sucks when a game that some people out there have put lots of money into just will not be able to play it anymore. I remember when Riggs was announced. I thought that looked like a really cool idea.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by that one because it's not that old.
Yeah.
Well, it's 2016. Yeah, it's 6 years now. But yeah, I mean, online servers get shut down. I just, I like when you could still access all the single player features, though. So I hope that's the case.
Yeah. All right. Well, want to remind everybody once again that we do have a Patreon available if you'd like to help contribute to the show, help keep the lights on, and then maybe you'd like to get some extra bonus content as well. If you subscribe at the $3 tier, you'll get an additional one bonus episode each month. If you subscribe at the $5 tier, you'll get 2 bonus episodes each month. And we've got all kinds of content available. CB, what can everybody check out right now?
Ooh, Break the Seal on Max Payne 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And also the trade-off Link's Awakening versus Sonic Generations.
Mm-hmm.
And Desert Island Games with CJ Moore.
Nice. If you'd like to check those out, or maybe check out some past episodes, head over to patreon.com/thegocast. We do appreciate any and all support. It helps us to pay for the show as well as do some giveaways, which I believe we'll have a copy of The Quarry available for giveaway in the coming week, right, CB?
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll finish it by Monday, I think is the plan to finish that game.
Yeah.
But we'll stay tuned for that. Let's go ahead now and jump into the new games that we've been playing. All right, Zach, I feel like I haven't been able to have you do releases in a long time because we don't get to be on episodes as much anymore together, but what's coming out in the coming week?
Right. I still track them down for you all every week.
You do, and I appreciate that very much.
But Story of Seasons Pioneers of Olive Town finally comes to PS4 July 26th, which I think finally concludes its very long-winded port cycles. Knoll the Mortal Fate comes to Xbox One July 26th. Train Valley Console Edition, a big PC hit, which I think the second one's out on PC, but the first one finally makes its way to consoles with PS4, Xbox One, and Switch July 27th. Path of Titans is a dinosaur game coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, and Xbox One July 27th. Octopath Traveler Champions of the Continent is Square Enix's latest price gouging mobile game coming to iOS and Android July 27th. Bear and Breakfast is coming to Switch and PC July 28th. That is about the title tells you everything you need to know there. 2D action game Azure Striker Gunvolt 3 makes its way to Switch July 28th. Lost Epic comes to PS5, PS4, PC July 28th. Vesteria Saga 2 The Sacred Sword of Sylvanaster comes to PC July 28th. Digimon Survive, a game that was in development hell for years, finally comes out on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC July 29th. Major Nintendo exclusive Xenoblade Chronicles 3 makes its way to Switch July 29th. And The Gallery is the latest choose your own adventure movie style FMV game. That's right. Yeah. Coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, iOS, and Android August 1st. Scott, are any of these games catching your eye?
Nope. I will be Live Alive.
Yeah, Live Alive, yeah.
Live Alive. I heard it pronounced Live Alive, but I don't know. Anyway, the only one that remotely interests me is Noel the Mortal Fate, because it just kind of looks like an old school RPG, but if I'm going to choose one, I'm going to play Live Alive instead, because that game looks amazing.
It's probably my fault, because I definitely was calling it Live Alive for many months, but then in their trailers, they keep calling it Live Alive, so I guess that's what it is.
Okay.
I mean, it could be any, it could be Live a Live.
It could. I had my finger on the trigger, actually, to pick it up this weekend, and I didn't realize it was $50.
Ouch.
I just couldn't do it, because I know that's going to be a time commitment that I'll probably never... I'm also worried about having the same thing happen to me that happened with Octopath Traveler, where I'm going to hit a grind wall at some point. I don't know that's going to happen. I don't know. Maybe because it's an old game, not like a newer game that felt like they had to pad.
My understanding is that it's not very grindy.
Okay.
It has a very good reputation. Yeah, I want to pick it up as well. The only thing that held me back was, my funds.
Mm-hmm.
But CB, what about you? Anything on this list?
Well, definitely The Gallery.
Okay,
I love those. And I'll probably pick up Xenoblade Chronicles. I need to finish 2.
That's like 200 hours of content, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a lot.
The first game was that long, yeah.
Yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, The Golden Country.
Right, Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Yeah. But they're fun to just chip away at. I mean, I'm still playing through 2, so...
And I think this one's supposed to bring together the timeline and characters of 1 and 2, is my understanding.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty cool if you're a big fan. Now, I love the first Xenoblade Chronicles, but I never played the second one because it looked way too anime for me.
It's very anime.
Yeah, which the first game is not at all. That's why it's so jarring a transition. Yeah, but I think I'm with Scott, dude. Nothing on this list really tripping my trigger. I would like, in my mind, I would love to play Xenoblade Chronicles 3, but I also know realistically I will never get to it because I got to play 2 first, and it's never going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I want to pick up 3, but there's another game that's in the way right now, so.
Which I'm sure we'll hear about right now.
Now, let's go ahead and jump right into the game that CB is alluding to, which is Coromon. This was a game, CB, that we saw when E3 went digital a couple of years ago, and we actually got to talk with the developers, and they kind of gave you a little preview of this game. And I know very little about Pokemon, but this looks very similar to Pokemon, the little that I know about it.
It is, and it isn't.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
So, Coromon, this one's been on my radar for a while, so I actually finally get to say that because something I saw at E3, I'm like, yay, I get to play it. Yeah, so it's a modern take on monster hunting games. So there's been a lot of quality of life updates that Pokemon still hasn't put in.
Monster hunting, not Monster Hunter, yes.
Yes, monster hunting.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is not a Monster
Hunting,
Hunter game.
catching. Yeah, so there's a lot of similarities.
Hmm.
A lot. But so generally you're a young person who's, well, I guess in this one you're not so much a young person, you're more of a young adult. And you're going to work for this company who is researching monsters in their world.
Okay.
So far, pretty similar.
So you have to catch these things to help them study them?
Yes, and battle and all that. So it's everything that Pokemon has.
Mm-hmm.
The bigger difference is there's a lot of like pop culture references to the outside world. Zach, you've played Pokemon before, right?
Of course. I mean,
Like the
yeah.
TMs and HMs and all that. Like, oh,
right. Yeah. Temporary moves and yeah.
So
Parameters.
one of the most annoying things about that was like you have to fill a slot in one of your premier Pokemon on your team to like, Sizor has to have cut.
Right.
So I can cut down
Mhm.
bushes. They got rid of that in this. You wear a gauntlet, which controls all the HM moves.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just such an easy quality of life thing that, yeah, you would, it's going to be one of those things you take for granted when you go back to Pokemon and it doesn't have that.
Yeah.
You're going to be infuriated.
And like, I thought it was so dumb because I'm like, why was this never a thing? Like, I'm wasting a slot because, Scott, all Pokemon have like 4 moves that they can use.
Mm-hmm.
So you're wasting one of the moves for one of these other things that you have to use all the time.
So really, they only have 3 moves then.
Yeah. Which, depending on the Pokemon, like that could be a major game breaker.
Gotcha.
So there's that within like the first, but like I love the pop culture stuff that I'm finding.
But you
Can
posted
you go
something
to
on
Seinfeld's
Facebook.
apartment?
What was that, Zach?
So can you go to Seinfeld's apartment?
No, but do you know Epic NPC Man, like the YouTube series?
No.
I don't know.
Okay,
Is that,
So
is that
there's-
what you posted about on Facebook?
so there's a YouTube series of British, I believe they're British actors, but they all work at a video game store, a PC store,
Mm-hmm.
and they also make content where this guy's like an NPC in a fantasy setting and has to deal with
Okay.
it. But he's Greg the Garlic Farmer. But he stands in front of his shop, and there's always a guy that walks in front of him. His name is Balin. But he's scripted to only say, "Good morning, nice day for fishing." And so as I'm walking by one of the NPCs in this world, I click on him as he's fishing, and it says, "Balin, good morning, nice day for fishing."
Huh.
I was like,
Nice.
oh, wow. Like these guys are actually like really in tune with a lot of things out there.
Yeah, it feels like a deep cut to me.
Yeah, it felt like a deep cut. There's a poster on your wall that's in your room that's the companion cube.
Nice. I think we
Nice,
saw
yeah.
that in the demo, didn't we?
Yeah. So one of the things that I didn't get to see in the demo, which is in that same room, you have your like little game console which you boot up. There's a functional Flappy Bird in this game. So I found myself playing Flappy Bird because I'm like, oh my gosh, man, I haven't played this in forever, and they like put it into this game.
Oh, that's amazing, man.
But it functionally plays exactly like a Pokemon game, but instead of using like Pokeballs, you use items called spinners, and there's different ones like plane spinners work on normal type. But where this game really diverts away from Pokemon is so every type of Coromon has 21 different variations.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Gotta catch them all.
So, like you'll see a normal one, and then there's ones that are potent, and ones that are like master. So they're stronger versions. They have different color schemes. Their skill bases could be different. So you could have a normal like, say you catch one, and it's a normal ghost type, like a normal and a ghost. But then you run into the same one a few minutes later, but it's normal and grass. So you have like this cross-pollination of the different types because they've learned different skill sets depending on where they are in the world, which I think is really kind of cool.
Wow, so, that's very involved.
Yeah, it is. It is super involved, but the learning curve is really simple. And another really cool thing that they've done is there's 2 XP bars. So you have your XP bar, they level up, and like all their skills go up. But they have a potential bar. So if you use certain guys to fight, like the guy that finishes the fight gets additional XP, which goes into this potential bar. And every time that fills up, you can actually self-choose where some of their level up points go.
Okay.
So say you want to build a guy that's like really, really fast or really, really like strong. So there's a lot more customization with it. I've probably been playing this for about 10 hours already, and I'm absolutely adoring this. Like it's everything I wanted like a Pokemon remake to be. So it feels weird because I feel that I'm like kind of stepping on my childhood because I've always been such a big Pokemon fan, but I'm having more fun playing a Pokemon clone.
Well, what's fun to me as a person that didn't get into Pokemon like you guys is this even kind of looks like Pokemon. Like obviously it looks crisper and cleaner, but it's
dude. I mean, the sprite work, the animations on the sprites are insanely beautiful. Holy crap!
Oh yeah,
it looks really good, and it just feels like a natural progression. At what point though is this? Is it too on the nose to Pokemon? You know what I mean? Like, what's the rule? As long as you're 30% different or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I said, like, you don't have Pokeballs. You don't have, like, they've made enough of a change that it feels like this would have been a better progression out of red, blue, and yellow into, like, gold and silver.
So do you think Nintendo will, like, follow suit and start doing some of these quality of life things?
I really hope they do, because some of it is just, it seems so simple that like the HMs get rid of them. Like, let me use them myself, or especially something like strength. Like I have this 7 foot tall Pokemon that's super powerful. Like it can't move this rock for me. Or this Pokemon that has blades for arms. It can't just naturally cut this thing. It just feels so weird.
That's the beauty of indie games. They can take the risk for experimentation, whereas Nintendo feels like, well, if we even change one thing, it might ruin the magical formula of infinite Pokemon money.
Which Arceus was like a huge diversion away from.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I loved Arceus because I was like, there's enough there of the original formula, but they've changed enough that I'm like, this feels fresh and new. Instead of just giving me a bunch of new monsters with new names, change some things.
Plus, isn't this $20?
Yeah, it's dirt cheap. It's $20.
Like, that's a beautiful thing. I mean, you know, that other $40 is to, you know, pay for the name Pokemon probably.
What kind of scares me though is Pokemon is like that franchise that everybody knows. And you're going to have the parents like, well, this looks like Pokemon. I'll buy this for my kids. So some kids are going to like start down this path and have like a completely different experience.
But they're not going to be disappointed, it sounds like, right?
No. But do you know of like any Coromon toys?
No. Or Coromon cards? Or
yeah.
Are like kids linking up their Switches to play Coromon?
Yeah, it just feels kind of dirty. And there is multiplayer to this too. So like if someone else had this, we can battle. Gotcha. So that's I want more people to buy this so I can play it with them.
Won't be me, sorry. I'm not knocking the game.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
I'm holding out for that one Pokemon game where they're making machine guns and stuff.
What?
They're being used. There's that trailer for that. It's like a 3D open world game, but it looked like Pokemon, except they were like sweatshop factory workers and stuff.
I don't remember that at all.
Oh, I don't remember the name.
I'm gonna have to track this down now.
Yeah, it was funny as hell.
So CB, you're recommending Coromon? It sounds like.
Yeah, I would highly recommend this if you're a big fan of Pokemon. There's there's definitely enough love in this, but there's also enough fresh ideas in this that you're going to be like, yeah, this is really cool.
It might
Sounds
be a
good.
good way back in, if you haven't played in a while.
Yeah. So
Just saying. Well, I guess you recommend that, but is this right? You guys are playing The Quarry on Switch?
no,
Nope.
we're playing it on Xbox.
We are playing on
Okay.
an Xbox. That was a mistake on my part.
All right. Yeah, well, I don't know. It was originally a Stadia game. I'm sure they could stream it to a Switch. But you guys are playing, The Quarry. This is obviously the big Ted Raimi banger. That's what everyone's excited about.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Raimi's brother's in here.
Yeah, he is.
Not very long that we've seen. Not
Yeah,
that-
This is the
Supermassive.
Yeah, Supermassive. Super Giant. That's the Hades people.
Mhm.
Anyway, this is the new Supermassive game. Yeah, are you guys liking it? I mean,
Yeah,
it's. Does
I'm
it
having
feel like
fun.
Until Dawn?
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Very-
Yeah.
very
It,
much
it
Until
very
Dawn.
much does. There's also been a few changes to the formula a little bit. Some that I like, some that I don't. So,
Okay.
but QuickTime events. QuickTime events are only done with the thumbstick now.
Yeah, there's no buttons. It's all either up, down, left, or right with the joystick.
Oh, weird. I wonder if that must have been. Maybe that's a holdover when it was a Stadia exclusive, right? And they had to have like lag for streaming. Maybe it's
Maybe.
easier to read a joystick input than a button input. I don't know.
It's
Well,
a possibility.
possibly, but here's how they do it. You'll see the thumbstick and the circle, and like there's a green circle shrinking towards it. And like with like 2 seconds left, it shows an arrow on which direction you're supposed to be pointing. So it's like,
Oh.
you're doing a QuickTime event. Be ready. Here it comes. Okay, now move.
But it also
Weird.
feels like with the circle shrinking, my brain immediately goes, okay, I'm going to be pressing a button, A, B, X,
Yes.
or Y. You know what I mean?
That's what I
So-
would have thought as well.
It took us a second to get used to that,
Yeah,
but after a
we
while,
failed the very first QuickTime event.
you
because
failed the very first quick event. Quick time
Are you guys
event.
playing this? Does it have co-op?
We are
It
we are
does have
couch
co-op.
co-oping this.
And what's interesting is the way they do couch co-op is there are 8 main playable characters, and it randomly just assigns 4 to CB and 4 to me. So as you go through, just like in Until Dawn, you'll play as a character for a second, and then it'll switch to another character's perspective, and so on. But since it's randomly generated, I could play 2 sections in a row, or maybe 3 sections or 4 sections in a row. I think at one point, didn't like one of us play an entire chapter? Without-
Just about.
I think, or it was real close. So like when it's time for my character to play, he passes the controller to me, and vice versa. That's been kind of a fun experience. But the story is kind of typical teen drama or teen horror flick. It starts out, there are a bunch of camp counselors that are all going to camp, and you start with the first 2, and they get stopped by a police officer, which is where you're introduced to
Ted Raimi.
Ted Raimi, yeah. And then you go back. It's like that's more like the prologue, right?
Yeah,
it
it
wasn't even
is.
a chapter. And then once you actually get to the quarry, which I was totally confused because I hear the quarry and I think like a rock quarry. I assumed this was taking place in a rock quarry. I didn't realize it was just like the name of the summer camp or whatever, which was
Oh yeah, I would have
Heck-
also assumed it was
Hackett's-
a rock quarry.
Yeah, it's called Hackett's Quarry.
Hackett's Quarry. So
Oh,
it's hard to really get into the story without giving too much away, outside of typical scary things happen and teens act like teenagers, who's sleeping
Does it-
with who's got a crush on who.
does it build up to a big twist like in Until Dawn?
Well, we're
Well,
not done yet.
yeah, we're
We have
only on
3
chap-
chapters left.
Yeah, we're on chapter 7. Actually, we have 4 chapters left: 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Well, we're in 7, so I don't count that.
We just started 7, so
We're
yes,
in 7. I don't
counting it.
count that.
Anyway, but we've had a couple moments where we're like, is it going this direction? And I have a theory that I don't want to give away. What my
we
theory
have
is.
we have a difference of opinion on what type of enemy this is.
Right, because there's like some kind of bad things out there that are killing off these teenagers, and I have a theory, mostly
Okay.
because of the name of one of the achievements that we saw, which felt like a hint to me, but I don't know. Anyway, we're doing pretty well. We've only lost one
Yeah,
counselor.
Sir, you've lost 2.
I lost the one girl. I wanted her to die anyway. I didn't like her.
Yeah, Scott, like, auto-murks this person.
She's an awful person.
He's like, oh, look, the bad guy's behind that door. Let me just open that door. Oh, she died. Oh, no.
No, the game gives you these choices to, like, go here or go there. Like, so if I'm in a cabin and I hear something on the roof, these creatures that have been chasing me, I have the choice to either hide or go up in the attic and investigate. To me, hiding from these things doesn't make any sense. So it was more that than it was like trying to put her in harm's way. But I was not sad when she died. Emma, the characters. I don't like Emma.
They also do the like hold your breath thing,
right? But in Until Dawn, wasn't it like it actually
the
like
heartbeat moment?
It would actually like hear, like if it would actually hear you say something. So like it was using the microphone and the PS4 controller or whatever you were using.
And you had to keep the controller still.
Right. So you just set the controller down on the table and just wait.
Yeah. Well, I didn't do that because I wanted it to be real, okay?
So this one, what it does instead is you have to hold down the A or cross button, depending on what platform you're playing, and then a meter starts at the top of the screen and goes all the way down to the bottom. And you have to figure out what is the best time to release it, because if you hold your breath too long, you're going to die. If you release your breath too early, your characters are going to automatically do whatever movement they're going to do, like move from cover to cover. So you have to know you have to figure out the sweet spot to get in there. What I wind up doing is just releasing it right before the very end, and that has always worked out for me. But
actually, correct me if I'm wrong, Sai. You've actually lost 2 characters now.
What other character did I lose?
Right at the end of chapter 6.
I don't. Oh, you're right. Well, I feel like that was going to happen anyway. That felt like one.
Because I do know for a fact that you can save everyone.
Okay, so yeah, I've lost 2 of my characters, which means my playtime will significantly decrease as we go through this. But here's something really funny. I want $1 for every time a character in this game says the word bears.
There's like 3 or 4 different things that they say in this game, and they will not. I think we're well beyond 70 times they've said the word bears.
Seriously, just they love the word bears in this script. It's crazy.
In one like 15-second conversation, they said the word three different characters said the word bears 7 times.
It's become
like bears.
Oh man, it could be bears.
That's what it's like. It's become a joke. Like every time someone says it now, CB and I just look at each other and go, bears.
Well, between that and then the Hag of Hackett's Quarry. They say that all the time.
The Hag of Hackett's Quarry. The Hag of Hackett's Quarry.
But just
I hate to run into the Hag of Hackett's Quarry.
Yeah.
But some of the dialogue in this game is just awful.
Yeah, and so are the facial animations.
Oh, well hang on. We'll get there in a second. Because the lead character from Detective Pikachu, Justice Smith.
Not Joseph Smith.
Justice. Smith. I said Justice.
I thought you said Joseph.
His acting in this is so flat.
Yeah.
I've heard that from a lot of people, that Justice Smith is pretty bad in this game.
Like, between that and then the facial animation on Emma, like, it almost looks like her entire lower jaw just unhinges and moves up and down while her upper lip stays the same.
Yeah, it's
and like none of the rest of her face moves, so it's just like,
well, that sounds awful.
Yeah. Or our newest favorite bug that we found, hair twitches.
Yeah. I don't remember that character's name. She's got red hair.
She's got red hair, but she's talking, and all of a sudden her hair just starts vibrating.
Yeah, that was really weird.
Ridiculously.
It only happened once,
it's happened a few times, but it was very short, like maybe like a couple milliseconds.
Mm-hmm.
But there was like a cutscene for almost 30 seconds straight. Her face is just completely still, but her hair is just vibrating around her. It was like the weirdest thing I'd ever seen.
But I'm enjoying it. I think we're going to finish it tomorrow, right?
Yeah, the story's definitely been fun. I think you're wrong, but
You think I'm wrong about what my theory is?
yeah, I think you're
see.
wrong.
Let's see.
Is it worth the $70 asking price?
No.
Not at all.
Hard no.
I mean,
Okay.
it looks really good outside of the facial animation stuff. Everything.
Well, it's
you know.
funny, outside of the thing that the developer is known for.
Right.
Yeah. No, this $40 brand new is where this should have been at.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds way more reasonable.
I mean, I would have
$40, and honestly, after 6 months, a $19.99 game.
I would have been fine if this didn't look like super superior. I just wanted to know the story. I don't need it to look perfect. You know what I mean? I imagine they're playing for a lot of the voice actors and stuff like that, because there are some. I don't want to say who, because some people like to go into that and be surprised, but there are some surprise cameos. There
are some definite mid-tier celebrity cameos.
Yeah. So, and that's always fun, but I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to it, but it's not a game I'm ever going to want to play again. Especially because this game the story has a real slow burn. It takes a while for it to get interesting. The first couple of chapters, it was all like we were watching a WB show.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, to be fair, the prologue, great intensity.
Yeah. Prologue was awesome.
Perfect. And then it hits chapters 1 through 3, and you feel like you are just swimming through jello.
Yeah. And I'm usually the character development guy. I like character development in games and doing things that don't seem like super important to the story, but this one just took way too long to get going. But once it does get going, it's interesting. It's really interesting.
I don't know about you, Scott, but I feel like I would give this 2 out of 5 bears.
2 out of 5 bears.
Bears. Well, speaking of animals, I'm curious, Zach. You've been playing DC League of Super Pets, and it's been
the return of the movie tie-in.
It's been a hot minute since we've had a good movie tie-in. So, is this we're gonna bring me back to the fold?
Well, if you're using the qualifying word "good," you might want to hold your breath.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
But it is. First of all, it's cool if there's a movie tie-in game I can go buy on a disc. That I can't remember the last time that happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Wolverine, probably.
Right? Because if they do licensed games now, it's always like, this is the story before, or this is our take on it.
Uh-huh.
But much rarer is the movie tie-in.
Does this have the voice actor like The Rock and?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's got some hilariously bad impersonators though.
Oh no.
And when you're playing the levels, I hope you like their catchphrases, because they have about 3 of them, and they cycle them. You'll probably hear each of the 3 one-liners 12 times a level.
Oh.
I've been playing the game on mute.
Okay, hang on. Before we go any further, I have to know, how much did this game cost?
It's a $40 title.
I'm instantly out.
Which of course I took the plunge because it's got DC right there in the title. But hey, do y'all like Star Fox?
I do like Star Fox.
I do.
Now imagine it was boring.
Oh no.
Boring Star Fox?
Yeah. So I mean, it's 100% a rail shooter. So you can play as Crypto or Ace, which is funny because Ace doesn't have Kryptonian powers, but he uses like a jetpack, and he, I guess, throws batarangs somehow without opposable thumbs.
With his mouth.
It must be with his mouth, absolutely. But obviously, yeah, that doesn't matter. But you can play as him or Crypto, and just fly along these rail shooter mission structures. Just like any of the thousands of them, where they follow their patterns. There's a boss fight at the end of each world, etc. But it's so. I assume it's probably super easy because it's for kids. But it's also just like the level. It's just you move so slow through the levels. Just feels like everything's taking a lifetime. Which is embarrassing because the game itself is maybe 3.5 hours long in its totality.
$40 for 3. Okay,
it's not. Yeah, no, it's not a good. It's a real the Quarry level of value here, and you have these like you can just like a power up skill tree, of course, because it's a video game and it's required by law now, and yeah, I don't know, dude. There's not a lot to this game. It's rail shooter levels. It doesn't even do like the cool thing that Star Fox does, where there's like these multiple paths, or
Right.
It doesn't have the style of a Sin and Punishment or the intensity of a Panzer Dragoon. It is really just like the simplest version of all of those. It's not terrible by any means, except for the one-liners repeatings will make you suicidal. But it's not terrible. It's just like it's not great either.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of, you can like it's got the Green Lantern squirrel, the Flash's turtle, and Wonder Woman's pig are like these side characters. They can come into a level and help you out, like do a little power up attack, and that's kind of neat because you can get like unlimited sprint to try to burst through the levels with the turtle, right? Because he's connected to the Speed Force. I wish he was there all the time so I could just make the game move at a reasonable pace. And the Green Lantern lets you make a doppelganger. It's all simple, cute kid stuff. But it's not gonna. It wears out its 3.5 hour welcome.
It's only 3.5 hours, and it wears out its welcome.
Yeah, which is not high praise.
What makes it even more sad is like if this is moving at a slow pace, if this moved at a normal pace, that means this would be a 2-hour game.
That's right, dude. Like, I don't want to put on my tinfoil hat here, but it really is like you're moving slow, where I'm like, this has to just be to pad
extend.
Out the game.
Yeah,
this is the only thing that makes sense. And you do have like a limited sprint option where you can hold down X so you can dash forward. But for one thing, it's just weird that it's not just, why can't it just be unlimited, man? It's a flight game.
Right.
But it's like, it lasts for like 3 seconds, which again, to CB's point, makes it feel like it's just there to lengthen the game.
So what podcast did you listen to while you were playing it?
It's funny you mentioned that. A lot. Because plenty of time. It's fun. The Gaming Outsider, of course.
Yeah.
There's this weird little adoption minigame where you can find animals in a level, and by find I mean they're on the straight path and you have to go out of your way to miss them. And you like, it's really weird. You just go into this menu screen, which has the annoying cursor menus that every game has for some reason now, which is never good.
Oh, like
anyway.
like if you were playing a PC game.
Yeah, like the thing that Destiny does, so every other developer feels like they can get away with now.
Mm-hmm.
I think I feel the obligation to point out every time a game does it because it's so bad.
Yeah, Power Wash Simulator does that too, actually, which is weird.
It drives me insane. It drives me absolutely insane. There's no reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you just go into this adoption menu. It's just got like a picture of an animal on a trading card. It's like, he really likes whole wheat toast, and then they'll have like, you can give it a gift, and then it'll be like a ball of string, a toy mouse, and whole wheat toast. And you're like, okay, so I'll give him the whole wheat toast. It's like, yeah, he liked that. He's happy now. It's really weird. Because even for a 5-year-old, that feels like it was a few years ago.
Yeah,
and it's not very advanced. Then you can pair him up with an adoption person, and then I don't know what that gets you. I don't think it gets you anything. I don't fully understand the purpose.
So were you expecting something more out of this when you decided to pick it up?
Well, when they first did the teaser trailer, I was like, okay, it looked like a rail shooter or whatever. But I assumed there was going to be some diversity between Crypto and Ace, because it's a DC League. Like the full title of the game is DC League of Super Pets: The Adventures of Ace and Crypto. So I thought there was going to be some kind of differentiator, but no, they're just both like flying around. Like I thought maybe Crypto's missions would be flight missions, the on-rail stuff. And then maybe, Ace was like some kind of rudimentary stealth game because he's supposed to be, Batman's dog.
Mm-hmm.
Or even like even if he was like the tank you play as in Star Fox, where like it's on the ground, so it feels a little different. Mm-hmm. Even that would be something. But no, they just play the exact same, and they have the exact same team up. The only difference is their special power, where Crypto shoots out at super heat vision, and Ace locks onto a bunch of people and throws several batarangs at once. And that's the only difference.
Well, and you're making it sound like these levels aren't too hard, so they could have padded the game out with even more of the levels.
Right? Yeah. Because there's 3 sections of the city that you're getting through. It's like Green Lantern ship patrols one, the turtle patrols the other, the pig patrols the third, etc. But it's all just you definitely could have done more. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's just not
So
much
this
game
was
here.
a rushed product.
I don't even know if it is. Like, it just I don't know. It feels like it was made on the most shoestring budget imaginable. And it's not. And again, like I'm complaining a lot. Like, it's not bad in any way. It's just fine.
Does it make you want to see the movie?
I mean, I already wanted to see the movie.
Does it? Would
this actually
make somebody want to see the movie more?
I'll tell you what, my partner wanted to see the movie, and then saw me playing this game, and now has very little interest in seeing the movie. If that helps.
I mean, celebrity voice actors will help.
Certainly. And I think it took the excitement wind out of the sails, which is fair because it also kind of like, it took the hype out from me a little bit too for the movie.
Right.
So it's actually doing the opposite of its job. And also, not for nothing, this is a minor complaint, but back in my day when I was playing video games, if you bought X-Men Origins Wolverine, you got a ticket to see the movie.
Yeah.
It's not happening here.
I think those days are gone.
I know, but that would really soften the $40 blow.
Right. I mean, that's like a quarter of the price of the game.
Those days aren't gone. Because there's when what was it? When Deadpool 2 came out. If you bought Deadpool 1 on the Blu-ray, you got a movie ticket.
Right. That seems a little different. Just because like, it used to be, you would buy X-Men Origins Wolverine, you got a ticket to the movie. It was freaking sweet.
But I mean, there's still a lot of those that do that. And at $40 for a 3-hour game, it seems like it would have been the perfect opportunity to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially like for kids, because a kid can't go by themselves, so they're going to have to go to an adult, so they're going to get a ticket sold, at least one ticket sold anyway. Right?
Oh, God. Can you imagine, like, the kid that's excited for DC League of Super Pets? Like, mom, the game, I can play the game before the movie. And they buy the game, and they're just so disappointed. They're like, well, if this is how they treated the game, we're not going to go to the movie.
Right.
Yeah. If the game was $20, it'd probably be a whole different kind of story, Similar to the Quarry, right? If it was priced appropriately, it might be easier pill to swallow.
Mm-hmm.
But this just kind of feels a little bit like a mobile game.
To be fair, though, I feel like I'm enjoying the Quarry a lot more than it sounds like you're enjoying DC.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really enjoying the Quarry.
Yeah.
The Quarry sounds like game of the year compared to this.
League of Super Pets. It's so short, it's hard to be too offended by it.
Right.
But it probably should have been $40. Or even if it was like, it's a $20 download, but it's $40 for a dummy like me who wants it on a disc.
Right.
Like, punish me for being dumb. But yeah, I don't understand, man. We'll see. This studio is, they announced that Justice League game where like all the characters look like chibi little Funko Pop style characters.
Mm-hmm.
So my expectations for that game has lowered.
Gotcha.
That's for sure.
Well, thanks for taking the bullet, man.
I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
I guess.
Sounds like it. All right. Got a couple social media outlets to share with you guys. First off, facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. Got an awesome community over there, including brand new member Nate Bruce, who migrated over from the Hollywood Outsider community. Welcome over there, Nate. Also, our Discord server is up and running. You can find a link for that in the show notes if you'd like to join in the conversations over there. Also, drop us a review wherever you're listening to this podcast. It helps us get the word out. And also check out our website, thegamingoutsider.com. There you can find all of our episodes as well as all of our written content. And now we're going to go ahead and jump into our From the Outside In topic. Listener Paul Hine posted an article on our Facebook page a while ago titled, "Are Retro Games a Waste of Everyone's Time and Money?" We thought this was worth talking about in detail, especially considering CB's affinity for retro games and especially collecting them. So I will say I feel like the article's title is a bit clickbaity. The writer actually did make some interesting points if you actually read the body of it. But I have a feeling I already know how CB feels about this, even though I'm not going to... I'm going to go ahead and start with you anyway, man. What are your initial thoughts after reading this article?
He's partially not wrong.
I am really surprised to hear that.
I said partially. So yeah, are some retro games a waste of time and money? Especially in okay, first off, let's get into this article a little bit.
Mhm.
Because he does bring up the point that like things like The Last of Us remake is a complete pointless waste of time and
I feel like that was
people's
the
money.
I feel like that was the inspiration for writing this article, actually.
Yes.
Well, I don't feel like there hasn't been a remake so unifying in its disdain quite like The Last of Us Part 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like it seems like even
Yes.
Last of Us fans are annoyed by this, you know?
Yep.
Yes. Some of the other points that he's making, like I did get a little offended over the cheap shot that was taken at Dead Space in this article.
Yeah, that was the one part that I was like, that's a completely different game. That's
Well, it's not only that, but like I feel like this person is partially misinformed on some of his information. Because gosh, I just had it highlighted, but I actually clicked. Oh, right here. This is a direct quote from this article. Of course, it's not just Naughty Dog either, but every company from EA going back to games like Dead Space that weren't even particularly big the first time round, to Nintendo endlessly recycling old Mario and Zelda games.
I don't know the
First
sales
off,
numbers on Dead Space.
It wasn't huge, but Dead Space and Dead Space 2, very beloved games. Mario and Zelda, tentpole franchises, which for the most part do reinvent themselves every time they go around. So I'm just like, I feel like this is the kind of person that sits in a chair and like, oh look, another Zelda game's coming out. I played Zelda in 1987 and it never got any better.
Yeah,
Like-
probably had no problem going to see every Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all wonderful.
But I just feel that this is somebody who's very angry about like,
I don't feel like it was
another-
written in an angry fashion.
You and I must be reading different articles. Because like right here, if you want to collect old SNES cartridges or import obscure Saturn games, I totally get that. That's not what I want. That's not what I'm really complaining about, although I wouldn't do it personally.
Yeah, that's not angry. That's like, hey, it's not for me.
I'm sorry,
If
but
you want
like
to do it, that's great, but I'm not going to.
retro games are my world, so like when I'm reading this, my inner monologue is just like an angry person. So yeah, to a point, I understand. Like, yes, there are times where like, did this remake or remaster really need to be done? Especially like when I'm more offended that he took shots at the video game industry over this when this is all Hollywood does anymore. And people go in droves to see these movies.
Right.
And nobody's complaining about that. But it makes me like I'm a retro collector. I love retro games, but I also like to play them on like their respective consoles. Like I don't need ports and things like that. Do I have the ability to do this? Yes. Does everybody? No. So there are sometimes those games that come along where I'm like, I'm kind of glad that it's being put on a modern console for other people to have the ability to enjoy this if they choose to do so.
Right.
Earlier in the article, he talks about, with the backwards support of Xbox, I look at my old Xbox disc, but I'm never going to play them. But there are the people out there that never got the opportunity to play them.
Yeah, we've got a comment coming up here shortly that addresses that very, very thing.
I think the article might have been self-written by Jim Ryan.
You think so?
Probably.
He hates old games.
You keep mixing up Jack Ryan and Jim Ryan.
Well, you know, they're both so hunky.
But, I mean, could video game developers be spending this money to make new IPs and properties? Yes. Is it a quick buck? Yes. Does it make sense from a business standpoint? Yes.
Yeah, that's where you get into the argument, which isn't just in the video game realm, but any kind of art. Like, do you focus on making something new, or do you focus on making the thing that's going to for sure sell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, these companies are businesses. Their goal is to make money, and if it's easier, it's going to make it more profitable. That makes sense. But
how many? I was going to say, how many companies have we seen take a chance on something brand new and fall on their faces and wind up losing everything? Versus the company that puts out 3 or 4 remakes or remasters for other companies, build up a little bit of a war chest, and then take that shot at something new.
Well, I feel like that's what some of these companies do. Is they outsource their remakes sometimes? I mean, I'm not talking like Capcom with the Resident Evil games. You know, they're doing that in house, right? So
I mean that was Blue Point's whole thing. They were a studio that just remade games,
right? Which is, you know, that takes money away, but it doesn't take away time. You know what I mean? So if that could be a whole niche thing, like you said, Blue Point's doing that. Maybe that's where some new companies spring up, and that's just what they focus on. They take some of these old classic games and either restore them or, you know, get permission from these studios to you know, touch them up, or I don't know, even redevelop them from the ground up to make them something bigger and better. But then you're going to have, you know, quality issues. You know, is the original company going to be okay with it? Are they going to trust this new company? It's an interesting way to go, but I don't know. I complain about it sometimes because, especially when things like The Last of Us or like when weird ones come out. Like, you remember when they remastered the Deadpool game? Like, not knocking Deadpool, but like, who was knocking on the door for that game to be remastered? I just
but it was nice that you could play it on current hardware.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing is I like that I don't have to dig out an old console to be able to play this game. I don't want to have to dig out an old console.
In a case like Deadpool or even the first time The Last of Us was remade, those ones kind of bothered me less because it almost felt like upgrading from a DVD to a Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it looks a little bit sharper. I understand what I'm paying for. If I want to play it the way it used to look, I still have, you know, Deadpool on PS3.
And it also wasn't $60.
Correct. Yeah, and you don't charge the full price.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and not for nothing. Back in those instances, and the market has shifted, and therefore expectations have. But you know, back in those days, you know, the PS3 game didn't work on the PS4.
Right.
You know, just like a DVD doesn't work in or a Blu-ray doesn't work in a DVD player. You know, like you just kind of have to upgrade the parts of your collections that you want.
And that's where like the video game industry has a leg up a little bit because you can do that in some instances. Like I can still play Xbox 360 games on my Xbox Series X.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying now the expectations have shifted.
Yeah,
in my opinion, because now that's why The Last of Us remake is infuriating because it's right there. It's just a PS4 version, but I could play it on my PS5.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or on Xbox it's even sweeter because I could pop in my copy of Sands of Time and just play it on my Xbox One.
I mean, The Last of Us one, it really does infuriate me over the fact that, again, it was so recent for this remake. It feels like, oh, well, what else are they going to do? Like,
and it's the third time.
Yeah.
Or second time, I guess.
Well, I mean, there are some people out there that have bought Skyrim like 5 different times.
Yeah, I was gonna say Resident Evil 4, but usually when they port it, it's cheaper.
Yeah. So, but it does worry me that I'm like, if this is the trend that we're going to go down and we have to remaster the first or second game in a series every single time a new entry comes out, like, can you imagine like, oh, Gear 6 is coming out. We had to remaster Gears 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have to pay $40 to $60 for each of them.
Oh, they're on Game Pass.
I'm trying to make I can't think of too many okay, better God of War Ragnarok's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
We need to remaster God of War 2018
mm-hmm.
for PS5.
For PS5, yeah. And it's gonna be $70.
Right.
Like, that game was already gorgeous. You don't need to touch it.
Plus, who hasn't played it?
who hasn't played Last of Us at this point in time?
Yeah, if you want to play The Last of Us, you've played it.
Like Dead Space, like especially if a game that in the article that says, "Oh, it didn't do too well the first time around." Maybe now people are going to have a chance.
I feel Dead Space is a horror game, right?
Dead Space did not do well the first time.
It didn't do well?
No, especially not for an EA, because the first one, like in its first year or so, only sold 1 million copies. I think it went on to sell about 4 million total. But you know, for an EA game in late 2000s, 1 million in the first year is pretty bad.
It just blows my mind that that's a failure.
Well, I also do feel that Dead Space at the time had a terrible marketing campaign.
Did it?
You guys don't remember that commercial?
Mm-mm.
Where it was like a bunch of older females and moms sitting in front of a TV.
Oh, that was, yeah. You finish your story, yeah.
But that was Dead Space, though, wasn't it?
No, that was Dead Space 2.
Okay.
Which conversely sold about 4 million copies, so actually it might have worked. But the commercial was just, they were scaring grandmas. They're like, it's too disgusting to let my kid play.
Yeah. So I guess they improved their marketing, because I never remembered any marketing for Dead Space 1. Like that one stuck in my mind because I remember like Dead Space, and like, because I guess that marketing part of it worked because I remember that commercial.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah.
I don't know where I land. I don't really know what the solution is, because I appreciate that these things exist. You know what I mean? I enjoyed the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes, but those are games definitely that I enjoy as a rental more than as a purchase. I know we can't really rent games anymore, but those are games that I want to play through once and never play again.
Okay. To be fair, we could rent games. Companies choose not to.
Because they want more money?
Okay. With things like Game Pass and digital storefronts, it would not be that hard to plaster one of these games on there and put a digital timestamp on it. Mm-hmm. We do it for movies already. I don't understand why they do it for games.
Because they know gamers aren't trained to demand things. You know, gamers, and I'm definitely guilty of it with certain games as well. But like, dude, gamers slop it all up, whatever is served to them. Whereas I feel like the movie fans demanded the digital rental, whereas gamers could absolutely vote with their wallet and get that as well, but they just don't.
Because FOMO.
Yeah, FOMO is certainly a part of it.
Yeah, but I feel that if we did do rentals for games, a lot more games would be sold. Because say I'm on the fence about something, I would rather rent it for the first 5 hours and play through. And then it's like, oh, I like this game. You know what? I'm just going to buy it now.
The problem you have there is, and I think with movie rentals, those are 24 hours, right? So if you give somebody a 24-hour rental and they know that if they beat this game in that 24 hours and they don't have to do another rental, then they're going to just rifle through it and then not need to buy it.
That's why I specifically said put like a 5-hour tag on it.
But
like, you have so much time in game on this.
And I think if you did that, each game would have to have its own individual time. You know what I mean? Like, if you're renting a Skyrim type game, well, I mean, older games don't count. Let's, you could rent them for whatever. But like, if you rented a Skyrim level of game, you get 6 hours, right? 8 hours. You're not going to complete Skyrim in 6 or 8 hours. You know what I mean? But
DC
something like
League Super Pets, 30 minutes.
You get 30 minutes in that game, and that's it. And that's going to be a whole different can of worms where people are going to be upset, and there's going to be, are companies going to dictate that? Are developers going to dictate that? Are publishers going to dictate that?
Isn't that what PlayStation's doing with their top tier right now? Every game has to have a 2-hour trial.
Yeah, it's true. But those trials are only available at the top tier of the PlayStation experience
it's
thing, right?
$18 a month to have demos.
Which is so stupid. I just still don't understand that.
Yeah. But I'm saying that, like, it could be done.
It could. Ah.
Right, but back to Edgelord McGee's article.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He was definitely trying real hard. The part that annoyed me the most was like you talking about the focus on re-releasing old games and stuff is stifling the possibility for new ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And to that, I just say, when was the last new idea?
Right.
Minecraft?
Yeah. That's probably it.
Because like the only other thing I could possibly think of would be the Battle Royale, but that's even just a game mode that people that used to be in some old games. It just made it its own game with PUBG.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's not. You know, like I remember playing a Far Cry game where it was like me and your buddies, you're hooked up on LAN. I mean, it was only 16 players or whatever. You only have one life each. It's the same concept, right? So like the last new idea I can remember is Minecraft. Everything else is just so derivative. Like, and it doesn't matter which game you play, right? You know, left trigger's aim, right trigger fires, X to reload.
Mm-hmm.
It's or square. It's always the freaking same. Like what new ideas, my man? They've had the time to come up with new ideas. So no, I don't think it's leaving new ideas behind.
Yeah. Though when it comes to story, there's that saying that there's only 36 different storylines that you could ever create.
Right.
Right. Or Spielberg says there's only 7 stories.
Yeah.
That's his theory.
So it's just how your version of telling one of those storylines.
Well, and
but at least I don't imagine when every time I open up an action movie, I don't know that there's going to be a train sequence. But every time I open up an action video game, I know there's going to be a frickin' skill tree. You know,
or a grappling hook now.
Yes, or absolutely a grappling hook. There's no frickin'. This is what I like. Geez, even like replaying the Mass Effect games, right? Like they felt different from one another, and now every game feels the exact same, even in different franchises.
Mm-hmm.
It's maddening. It's absolutely maddening.
Where are the fresh ideas? Like, I just got done replaying Portal. That was a whole new concept, right? We had never seen that idea before. Or bring back Suda51 to make some games.
No, Portal had definitely been done before. It was a movie called Cube.
Cube wasn't Portals.
Well, it wasn't that way, but it was escape this room.
Yeah, but
I think that's a stretch, CB, but that's okay. We still love you.
Leave me alone. My brain. That's how it works.
Hey, we said we love you.
But like, I feel like nowadays the studios that get a chance to take these extra leaps of faith are the indie studios, right?
But even and I don't want to sound like a complete a-hole, but even a lot of indie games are like this. It's a 2D Souls-like Metroidvania.
Well, that's what I was getting to. Is like they're the only ones that actually
game.
Can.
I'm using their marketing. Scott, you were saying
they're the only ones that really can because they're not dictated by a publisher or suits that are doing this. And to your point, they're just kind of doing the same things, or 16-bit style platformers or roguelikes, or you know what I mean? Which I'm not complaining about roguelikes. You guys know I love those, but like I want some of these companies to just do something. I just come to the table and spitball ideas.
That's it's not to say that the games being just like each other isn't inherently bad. It just means the idea that our focus on the past is stifling creativity is nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it drives me crazy because I don't like open world games, and every game is open world. I don't like skill trees. Every game has a skill tree. There's not a lot for me to get excited about in modern video games, man.
How about we just have a game where skill trees are hidden? Like your character just levels up as you go along, and you have no idea.
That's kind of
Like I totally hate that.
Like you're sitting here, it's like, oh yeah, I do a lot of jumping. I don't know if I can jump this like gap, but let's try it.
Yeah, imagine like a Skyrim type of skill tree that you never see, like that you get stronger based on what you do. You know what I mean? And you just randomly get
you're not
something.
putting the points in, and you have no idea how strong you are in those.
Yeah,
it's funny. I mistook it as even more random than that, where you just level up and the game gives you a skill point in some random skill tree, and you never get to see it.
Oh, just randomly, not like what based on.
Oh god, like that'd be even more chaotic.
That sounds awesome to me.
You would have just like a totally random set of skills that don't like make any sense together. You could,
or
more or less,
it's like most modern games, though. By the end of the game, you would just have all the skills anyway because there's no actual choice. It's just a illusion of it.
Because got to have something to get that achievement to complete that skill tree.
But to have something like that with a complete RNG would be
I think
hilarious.
Like it's almost like Rogue Legacy, except you don't even get the text telling you what's happening.
You just have to learn by doing.
Did I get stronger with swords? I don't know. Let's try.
I feel like I did.
It'd be nothing but experimentation. You just have to constantly be testing your strength or testing your.
It's a completely new idea, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say
we may be onto something, guys.
Yeah. Contact our peoples.
Yeah, shut off this podcast.
Anyway, I will say that I think that what you're talking about, Zach, where we're in this rut of creating the same thing over and over again. To me, that is the bigger hurdle or biggest thing hurting the games industry in terms of keeping us from trying to innovate and do things new. I think that's the bigger problem than remaking games. Because I mean, I love Assassin's Creed, right? And I will probably keep playing Assassin's Creed. But, until they do those shifts like every 3 games or whatever, it's a completely different thing. The game doesn't even feel like Assassin's Creed anymore. You know what I mean? Other than, hey, there's an Animus and there's like some, some present day stuff that is, completely barely there anymore because everyone complained about it. That, I don't know.
I'm still mad that the modern day game never got made.
Well,
yeah. The Desmond game?
Yeah.
Kind of hard to make a Desmond game now.
Yeah, I'm actually still legit mad that never happened.
Dude, I mean, that was the original plan before Patrice Désilets left.
It was just been so cool. We were all hoping for that, right? Like Desmond's going to become an assassin, and
everybody wanted it.
Yeah, but then they would have had to wrap up the series.
Even people that hated the modern day storyline were like, "Yeah, at least it's built into something cool, though."
Right. Well, let's go and see what the community said. Let's start over on Facebook. CB, why don't you kick things off?
Izzy Casio?
Sure,
we'll go with that. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. I do think remakes are kind of a drag, but as long as people keep throwing money at them, they will keep making them.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. It's a business decision.
Well, this is when I get so frustrated because Izzy's 100% right, but I can't convince anybody else to vote with their wallet in this industry.
I don't know, man. Nier keeps doing things.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Nier was a
remake.
You
seem to be like the ultimate champion for Nier.
Oh, I talk about Nier Replicant, where they overhauled the entire combat, added in a new ending, added several hours of new content, re-released it on a modern hardware with completely.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that that's what happened with Resident Evil 2 and 3 as well. I think even Resident Evil 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 2 did not play.
All right, yeah. I'll reissue my if I don't have a problem with throwing money at remakes because Resident Evil 2 and 3 were great as well. You guys you're absolutely correct.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be able to see that. Like when you saw Resident Evil 2, you could just see like, oh, this is like a heart and soul project.
Mm-hmm.
Like whoever is making this game, like especially with like the Mr. X reworks and stuff, like, oh, this is a team of developers who really give a crap. I do not get that vibe from The Last of Us.
Right.
For instance. Like, so, yeah. Or yeah, in the case of Nier Replicant, where of course I'm going to be slightly defensive. Yoko Taro finally gets to finish the game the way he wanted to.
Right.
11 years later.
Actually, one that just kind of hit me because I was actually excited for a remaster when they redid Shadow of the Colossus.
Of course, yeah, look gorgeous.
Like
that was the first time I finished that game.
That was just a spit polish.
Oh, really?
And I remember like waiting in line before GameStop to open to buy that.
You know what? That might that's actually probably a good observation, CB, with like the lack of excitement for like even for me with like the Dead Space remake because I'm not super stoked about it. It might also just be a case of diminishing returns, right? Because like a PS2 Shadow of the Colossus looks pretty bad by PS4 game comparisons, but like a PS5 game does not look bad compared to a PS4 game, right? Like they do not. The technical distance is shortening.
The delta's a lot narrower.
I don't need ray tracing on every single game.
Right. Yeah, the stuff they talk about now, like in these slow motion trailers, is like, check out the checkerboarding AI 4K upscale. I'm like, I don't care. You could throw as many buzzwords into the sentence as you want, but the end product is it means nothing. Because so many of these upgrades, you are not going to notice unless you are told about them.
Like the Halo Master Chief collection, when they redid 1. Like that was a significant overhaul to the graphics.
Yeah, and they put their money where their mouth is because you could change the graphics with the push of a button too.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, look, and I think that's where the problem is it's been too close.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, CB. Rare, you make such a good point.
You're
Zach,
so mean to me.
Oh, I love you, man. Mark Szymanski writes in, I lean on the side of if people are buying them and enjoying them, then who cares if the game makers put minimal effort into churning them out for a quick buck? Mark's really putting the target on the consumer here. On the flip side, if those efforts are hindering the production of new games, then we're all going to suffer a little. I'm sure we'll get a course correction, though. It's a perfect time to have one. There are hundreds of games from the last 4 to 5 years that are still great, and we'll all be happy to play. But in the end, I'm not concerned. I barely have time to play new games. That's fair. So the remakes won't get any money, especially if they've already played it. And I have a mile-long backlog to occupy my time while we wait for the next great game. I'm looking at you, Callisto Protocol.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, Callisto Protocol does look so good.
That's the thing is like, some people say, well, there's no games coming out. I'm sorry. There's no way I can play every game that I want to play. You know what I mean? Unless you're only wanting to play AAA shooters that, or I don't know. It just,
no, you're right. Because even we on the show will talk about like the gaming drought or whatever. But no, the truth is there are hundreds of games that come out every single week on Steam. It's about business decisions in life, right? You can't consume all the media you want to.
I know, like TV shows. I'm getting to the point where I just can't even keep up with new TV shows anymore. I've given up and I've just gone back to try to enjoy old stuff, or like either rewatch stuff I've already watched or diving into an old show that I never got to see. You know what I mean? It's too hard to keep up and try to avoid spoilers, and I mean, just look at all the stuff they announced at Comic-Con. Like just the Marvel stuff alone, I feel like there's 2 Avengers movies next year?
No, 2025.
2025.
No, dude, that was, if a quick aside, it just cracked me up that people were like, oh, the MCU phases are getting so short. I'm like, yeah, dude, because they got 17 things every phase now.
Mm-hmm. Like
the first phase had 6 movies?
Yeah, six movies, which capped off with the Avengers.
Right. So it's no wonder that took 5 years,
But the problem is now Disney's like, we're going to make all these movies, all these TV shows, all these tie-in things.
Right. It was, the VFX studio houses are going to have to go on strike.
Oof.
Dude, they got all the power now, man.
Crazy. Next comment comes from Sean Coates, who says, when I first read the headline, I was about ready to go into full beast mode and say that the writer can go screw himself or themselves. But I took a deep breath and actually read the article. The way the headline reads made it seem like he was coming down on the retro collecting scene, and if that were the case, yeah, he can go screw himself or themselves. But the actual point of the article is about how the retro gaming craze is infecting the current games market, and that I actually agree on. The reason that studios are re-releasing old titles, aside from the easy money, is that playing original releases on current hardware isn't as straightforward as you'd think. Game preservation is important, but when a lack of backward compatibility hinders the ability to bring an old game to new hardware, the only option left is to re-release it and give it a spit shine while you're at it. The switch from PS3 to PS4 is a perfect example of this. Early on in the cycle, every other game was a, quote, remaster of a PS3 title. That's only because a PS4 couldn't read a PS3 disc, which I think is silly. I know the excuse at the time was different hardware architecture, but I refuse to believe that adding backward compatibility can influence the console's price in any significant way. But what do I know? Also, I'm sorry for the novel-sized response. Anyone who knows me is aware of how passionate I am in anything regarding retro. Also, I just noticed that there isn't a specific author listed in the byline. Very sus.
I think it was by BioFox.
BioFox? The link the link to the article you guys gave me did not have a byline.
It's at the very end.
Okay,
it's at the very end. The article is written by someone who goes by the moniker BioFox.
Well, first of all, that's not where a byline goes. And secondly, Sean, you said that, like, you refuse to believe that adding backwards compatibility can influence a console's price. There's no reason to doubt it. It's been proven, right? Xbox did it.
Right.
And they didn't even do it with a hardware refresh. They did it with a freaking update to your console.
Yep.
So there is absolutely what PlayStation's lack of backwards compatibility, especially now that you can buy PS1 games digitally, is inexcusable. There is no reason I can't put in my PS1 copy of Ape Escape and the console will go, oh, I see that this is a PS1 disc, CD of Ape Escape. Here you go. Here's the digital download. You can play it as long as the disc is in the tray. And I know that it's not difficult to do because, again, Xbox did it.
Right.
I'm sorry. And maybe it is difficult to do, but the legwork can be done.
No, it's not difficult to do. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, I mean,
because PS1 did it, PS2 did it. Like right. I can put a PS1 disc in an old CD player, and it will just read the music.
That's true. Yeah, that is true.
Like, it's not hard. Sean does bring up a good point though with the retro gaming craze. There's a reason it exists. People want to play this stuff.
Right.
The problem is that you have people who no longer have access to the hardware or the games.
Well, if you compare it to like the movie market, like even if you have a DVD, you can go find a DVD player for $20. But if you want to go find like an old PS1, you know what I mean? You're gonna be forking over some money. You know what I mean?
Well, not only that, with digital download content for movies, I can literally just hop onto Vudu and be like, buy.
Right.
I play now.
You don't have the ability to do that with games because you have to have this actual hardware to be able to play it. Right now, you
can do it with emulators, but sometimes those emulators don't work right.
Well, yeah, and then you also have the legality
or it's not compatible. Issue. Yeah, so but the bigger problem is with a lot of, and those who have been to my house know I have this problem. When you have some of these older consoles, you cannot play them on modern TVs.
Some of the really old ones, yeah. Try hooking up an Atari 2600 to a current TV.
It can be done, but it is difficult.
Yeah.
The bigger problem is when you try to use some of the peripherals, because you cannot use a Nintendo Zapper
without
on a flat screen TV.
Oh, yeah.
So some of these games, like how many times, like people love playing Duck Hunt and things like that, like when they get together with friends. But unless you have a big old CRT TV or things like that, like you can't do it.
Right.
So it does come into that problem. So, but yeah, I will also say Sean's initial quote where he's like, I thought this person was dumping on the community. When you first sent me this article, Scott, it made me mad. Like I refused to even open it.
I believe you.
I was like, nope, we're not going to start this fight today.
Yeah, I feel like the title was written intentionally to get you to read it, to open up and read it, which it worked. It worked.
I only read it because we were doing it for this week. Otherwise, I never would have read it.
That's what I got to do. To get CB to read an article, I have to do an entire topic on it so that he'll read it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Why don't you read the next comment from Discord?
All right. Discord. Aaron Peterson of the Hollywood Outsider. I've been saying it for the past 2 or 3 years. Every time you buy a remaster or remake, you're keeping a new game from seeing the light. Business goes where the money is. And these days, it's so much easier to go back into the well than create something new. Very little intriguing new games are hitting the market these days, and it's our fault. Pot, meat, kettle. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't know if I agree with very little intriguing new games are hitting the market these days. I may say maybe new ideas, but there's a lot of intriguing games out there. But,
actually, you know what's really funny that I just kind of made this connection? You talk about like it's the indie scene that's like making the new stuff and Blumhouse and like A24. Yeah, it's the indie people that are really driving Hollywood right now with stuff that I want to see.
Yeah, you know what's interesting because yeah, I feel like indie movies. I'm sure the directors don't feel this way, but I do feel like indie movies somehow have way more visibility than indie games. Although it's probably just a quantity thing.
Yeah,
because there aren't 300 new movies in theaters every week like there are new video games on Steam.
Plus, you can watch a movie in 2 hours.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man, I wish I had the cushy job of doing a movie podcast.
Yeah, just review 300 movies a year, man.
What was that? I was gonna say. No. Yeah. No. I mean, it's he's not wrong.
Not entirely wrong.
It is definitely it's a problem that I think is plaguing all media. The lack of new ideas, because what, like every other TV show feels like here's a movie you used to like, but now we're telling it in a longer, more annoying format.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's or here, or Disney Star Wars plan seems to be we want you to see every minute of every original trilogy character's life. We don't want Obi-Wan Kenobi to take a dump without you knowing about it.
Jedi don't take a dump without a plan, son. That was for you, CB.
Yeah, I know.
But he's right. But business goes where the money is. But back to what we were talking about earlier. There's still a ton of money going to the unintriguing new games that Aaron's talking about. But it doesn't feel like new ideas don't even have the chance to be rewarded.
Well, I mean, they're buried by so much other stuff. I mean, there's just...
I'm just saying, like, they don't even get the funding to hit the market. Like you're not going to see a game the size of God of War 2018, or with the budget of God of War 2018, that has new ideas at its core, because it's considered too much of a risk.
It's a risk, yeah.
Which is insane, because again, as I've definitely been on my soapbox before, like the video game budgets being inflated is nobody's fault but the publishers. Gamers, as proven by the fact that a Nintendo Switch is outselling, PlayStation and Xbox, gamers don't actually care about technical fidelity.
They say they do.
They might say so on Twitter or where YouTube or wherever, but at the end of the sales day, the reason Nintendo reigns supreme is because people care about good games.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like those people that like care about the technical fidelity side of it are being paid to say that,
or they're PC gamers,
or they're hooked on Digital Foundry.
Yeah.
The same people who like to point out every cinema sin when you watch a movie are the same people who are worshiping at the altar of Digital Foundry.
It's true.
It's the same camp.
All right, Zach, you're up.
Whew, I'm all worked up. Video game budgets are really my kryptonite, man. They do. Drives me nuts. Ferris. That's why Jack Tretton, the old head of PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? He like straight up admitted that's the reason he retired, because he was tired of seeing that.
Seeing what?
Oh, it's the inflated budgets for these games instead of because he still believes that there is a market for the $100 million development 8 to 10 hour video game that you charge $50 for.
Yeah.
But he couldn't convince PlayStation of that, even though he was the head of PlayStation at the time.
Crazy.
Yeah. Oh, drives me nuts.
We're a dying breed, Zach.
I don't think we are. It's just they can make more money from battle passes and live services and open world games getting these DLC.
They can make quicker money.
You're not a dying breed. It's just you're being suppressed with so much other stuff.
I guess we're the dying breed, apparently, and I'm sure. And people who are listening to this podcast are almost assuredly in the same dying breed of people that are willing to vote with their money.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like the average casual gamer just obviously does not have that in them. Anyway, back to Ferris. First of all, retro video games are not a waste of time and money. Don't ignore history. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for it. Now, do you feel that it is more of a waste of time to try to reboot or remaster old titles? Yes, perhaps there is an argument there. But sometimes I think that companies play that card deliberately for reasons cited in the article, especially a remaster with an affordable price tag. Perhaps the tactics continue to also battle the constant influx of indies. Perhaps they feel they have to give us something since they plan on making us all wait 12 to 15 years now for their masterpieces. Looking at you, Bethesda, Rockstar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think retro video games are a waste of time and money. I wish games preservation was easier, which I think you commented earlier, mentioned as well, because then the people who are buying all these scalped NES cartridges prices are the people who just want that instead of like they would just really want to. Like if you want to play Little Samson, right? The only way to do it is to pay $1,000.
Or
there's no
emulate it.
I wish it was only $1,000.
I wish it was $1,000. I'd go get one right now.
Or illegally. Okay, let's say you're a law-abiding citizen. You don't want to emulate it.
That's me.
It's a shame there's not a even a $20 download option for Little Samson,
Right.
It's only a $1,000 cartridge. That sucks.
It makes me wonder, because there's got to be digital copies of all these games somewhere, right?
Oh, there is.
So has anybody ever, like from a preservation standpoint, compiled these and put, are they available Not necessarily for people to download, but just like to have them in a place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, as we've learned from game development history books, they used to just delete the source code at the end.
Yeah.
So a lot of games probably don't have the easy source code, like Panzer Dragoon Saga.
Yeah, I was just going to say that one.
But to like the Blade Runner re-release they did, they stripped out and like reverse engineered all of the code. So it is possible, but it's just very time consuming.
Actually, this is a weird thought. Okay, so they're trying. You have the big companies that are trying to combat like indie developers. Why doesn't like Sony or Xbox or Nintendo like create their own kind of indie market, I guess, with releasing a lot of these older games? Because there are people out there that have never played things like Legend of Dragoon. So with as many of these like 16-bit and other games being released right now that people are buying in droves, like if you were to put Legend of Dragoon in its original format, like you don't need to spit polish it, nothing. Just drop it, let people buy it.
I think the reason they're not doing that is because they're not as widely known to people outside of people like you and me that collect games or are super knowledgeable about games like Zach is. You've got that going for it. Plus, all that's going to do then is just flood the market again with more games, and that's going to take away, could potentially
put one
take
out
away.
A quarter then.
Huh?
Put one like a game out a quarter.
Well, I mean, that's going to take you a long time to get caught up. I mean, how many tens of thousands of games, hundreds of thousands of games are out there?
A lot. I know that much. but like there's new indie titles coming out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them are these like sprite based or pixel based games. It really wouldn't be that hard to drop a few of these in every now and then.
I think there should be companies that are just dedicated to that. There should be almost like a fourth platform that is just like indie platform that is a legal way where they could do that.
It almost sounds like the Ouya.
Yeah, but done right.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, where you could,
that's what they wanted to do with that.
Because make it a dongle-based thing, and you pay a subscription service, just like we pay a subscription service now. I mean, the licensing would be a nightmare, but we do it for Spotify. We do it for Amazon Music, Apple Music. We do it
Pluto does it with every old sci-fi show.
Huh?
Yeah.
Pluto TV.
I've never heard of Pluto.
Oh, they specialize in just like licensing old sci-fi TV shows and movies.
I mean, you could
the kind of stuff most people would never care about.
Oh, gotcha.
Like these indie games that we're talking, like these like little,
But I mean, you could do like a Netflix type service for just game preservation's sake, and have them all on there, and then just swap them out based on available licensing. You know what I mean? Like that's what Netflix does now. You can't get every movie on Netflix or every movie on Hulu, obviously. You know what I mean? So like you just rotate them out. You get them all legally, and then you have a whole marketing team or a whole legal team that works with the publishers and makes deals throughout to have this constant rotation of when these games are available. This game is available for these 3 months. You know what I mean? And then randomly swap stuff out as licensing opens up and is, I don't know. I think that sounds like a fantastic idea and a way to do game preservation.
I just think these big game companies don't want the retro games to come back because then no one will ever buy their new games.
That's a good point, but if they're getting paid for their stuff being on there, they're,
got a lot of employees to feed, man.
Yeah, you're still gonna have the masses. They're gonna buy the next Call of Duty and the next God of War.
I know.
And, I mean, even if you do this, I don't imagine people like my students' age are going to be rushing out to buy this service because it's not Fortnite, it's not Minecraft, it's not something based on an anime. You know what I mean? They're not going to be interested. This is going to be for people like us, for the older generation that are interested in keeping these games alive, so to speak, because it's getting ridiculous to be able to play them legally with the actual hardware and software. Anyway, we're getting way off topic here, but
oh yeah,
let's go on to the next comment here from David Newman. I think the problem is less about focusing on remasters and remakes and not putting in the effort to create the actual intention from the player's perspective of a remaster or remake, to allow new players the experience of an incredible game by modernizing the controls and matching the current graphical fidelity while providing that nostalgia to the players who have played it before. Personally, while I want new ideas and new games, the industry has grown so large and so quickly that I will never even play 0.1% of the games out there. So remastering or remaking an old game allows me to experience a game I may have never played or re-experience a game I loved with updated to modern gaming that just makes it a little more enjoyable for me. That's a huge thing for me. This is Scott talking now. There are some times where an old game that I've never played, like Nier, I probably never would have played Nier, Zach, no offense. If Replicant
I wouldn't have blamed you for the old version.
Yeah, I never would have experienced that game if it hadn't been remade. And much like the comment that's coming up right after this, I think that's a big thing with remasters and remakes, is that there is always somebody that has not played this game and won't play it because either it's on old hardware that is really hard and or expensive to get, or because the control schemes are very old school. I mean, if you sat down and gave somebody today the original Resident Evil 2 and said, here, this game is great, go play it.
Or according to you, hell, even the original Resident Evil 4.
Dude, I still can't stand the controls in Resident Evil 4.
I know.
I actually, while I was reading David's comment, I was literally thinking Resident Evil 4. And I was like, I'm going to say Resident Evil 4. And I was like, oh no, I'll just get a lot of crap for that. But yeah, I do not like the controls of Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, it's got the tanky controls. You're right. Yeah. There's no question.
So, CB, why don't you read Kevin's comment, because I think it's very similar.
Kevin Honigford, if it wasn't for remaster/remakes being a thing, I never would have played Link's Awakening. This is why you want me to read it, because you're just excited about this.
No.
Now that I have, I would have been pissed having never gotten the experience. Funny thing is, re-releasing basically the same products with a newer coat of paint or modernized design has happened in everything forever. For example, Transformers has been remade while remaining the same since the 80s. I may fight you on that one. I'm not even talking about the movies and shows, just the toys. It is literally everywhere, involving everything. As adults, we may never grow up. We want to experience what brought us joy from as far back as we can remember. And what better way to do that than to relive the experience in a modern fashion? So we purchase things like this. I will openly admit that I live vicariously through my kids on a regular basis. I had a BB gun and enjoyed it when I was younger, so they got BB guns when they were that age. On and on and on. I do kind of understand this viewpoint, though. I guess time being spent on remakesters. Wow, what a word. Means that time not being spent on new ideas, but I'm okay with that. And if money talks, so are the majority of people out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been raising my son the same way. Like my older son and my younger son, they both like the first cartoon they were introduced to, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and DuckTales.
Yes.
Ooh.
Because
DuckTales isn't
amazing.
too bad, but man, Ninja Turtles, that's just mean.
Well, and then like right after that was the new Ghostbusters, the Ghostbusters cartoon.
Like the original, like the real Ghostbusters?
No, not the real Ghostbusters. Not like the Hanna-Barbera one with the gorilla in the
I'm saying the real Ghostbusters was the one that had Egon and Spengler.
Oh yeah. That was what they got raised on too, and they love it to this day.
Man, those old
by force.
Oh, you're talking about actual cartoons, not. I thought you were talking about video games. I thought you were making.
Oh no!
I thought you were making
cartoons.
them play Ninja Turtles on NES. I was like, man, that's mean.
Well, my older son's first console that he got to play was my Atari and my Nintendo. He didn't even touch an Xbox until he had made it at least to PlayStation.
Nice. That's interesting.
Yeah, dude, I mean, well, like to Kevin's point about like remakes, or I wouldn't even say remakes. I would say reboots, like Transformers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Batman or something like that. See, I like that stuff because it feels like it's always a new stylistic take. It's like a legend being eternally retold.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's super cool because because for so many kids, their favorite version of the Ninja Turtles is just the cartoon era that was on when they were a kid.
I mean, that goes with anything, right? Your favorite Bond is the one that you watched when you were, a teenager or in your early 20s. But like
Usually, yeah.
I mean, I just haven't seen any pre-Pierce Brosnan, and I see CB shaking his head at me right now.
No,
but
that's an insane thing to say.
Yeah.
Well, Brosnan is the best. There's no question.
Oh, you be quiet.
For me,
No.
You're both wrong.
For every other actor is a James Bond, but Pierce Brosnan is the James Bond.
No, you're wrong.
Scott, who's your favorite Bond?
Brosnan.
Okay.
I will say that Daniel Craig has started to grow on me quite a bit, although I haven't finished the last one. But
he's great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but Brosnan Brosnan still fit that cheesy Bond movie role, like he did it with such suave. Anyway,
yes, I love it. I love his suave. No, let's just talk about Bond instead.
But that was a fun topic, guys. Thank you to everybody that wrote in and contributed. We really do appreciate it. Next week's
I'm sorry, just one last shot at The Last of Us. That's Kevin and David's comment is totally right about why The Last of Us remake is so infuriating, because it's not modernizing any controls or anything,
right? Or if it is, they're not telling us.
Well, that's true. But also just my complaint that every game is at square to reload. So like the gaming controls were already solidified by that point, and they haven't changed in the 9 years since.
I feel really bad for saying this, but I literally hope nobody buys this.
I just need to get one last shot in there. Dude, and the most frustrating thing is, if it was $30, I'd probably buy it. Like out of curiosity.
30, yeah. I just have no desire. I don't want to play through that game again.
Yeah, no, I mean,
which is crazy because I praised that game up and down when it released.
Oh yeah, I love it to death.
Because it was the storytelling was something different.
Yeah, although I guess actually based on its release window, I actually probably would pay $30 for it. But that's a different story. Oh man, The Last of Us is great. Last of Us Part 2, even better.
And man, you totally ate crow on that one because you were like,
yeah, dude. Because I said because I was so offended that they would dare desecrate the perfection of The Last of Us with a sequel,
and they totally nailed it. I really like this sequel. Anyway, next week it is going to be the first episode of the month. So we're going to do our first community questions episode for the month of August. So stay tuned for that. And also don't forget our voicemail line, 347-746-2278. Or if you find it a little bit easier, 3477-GO-CAST. We got a voicemail this week, but I think somebody messed it up. I only got 2 words at the beginning, and it was like a 3-minute voicemail message, and there was nothing there. So be sure to leave us a message. If you do it, we'd love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Zach, any parting words or recommendations for everybody out there before we are done for the evening?
Not particularly. I'm about to see Nope. I'm pretty excited about that. After we get done recording here.
Nice.
But, I've been watching, I don't know if you guys have Nathan Fielder's new show on HBO, The Rehearsal. Dude, it is some trippy yet funny stuff. I would recommend it. It's, I don't know if you've ever seen Nathan For You on Comedy Central.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. It's Nathan Fielder from that. But the idea is like somebody wants to do a big life event. Like in the first episode, this guy wants to admit that he lied to his friends about his college degree, but the rehearsal, like, it simulates everything down to the letter so they can practice it. Like, they recreate the bar shot for shot, and they hire an actress to play his friend and stuff. And it sounds weird because it's totally weird, but the lengths they go to like try to rehearse this moment of life is hysterical.
So then, do they actually go through and do it and show the final result? They
do, yes, but which is funny because the actress went and met with the real woman that she was pretending to be in stealth as like a different person to try to get her mannerisms down.
Oh, so this isn't like just a drama. This is like actually done.
Yeah, it's a reality show.
Oh, I didn't realize. Oh, wow, I didn't realize that,
dude. And it's just so. It's so funny, and also it's like deeply unsettling how easily you can recreate a person's life 1-to-1,
right,
without them knowing. But it's it's really, I don't know. It's a pretty smart show.
I'm intrigued. I may have to go check that one out.
Yeah, it's called The Rehearsal. I would check it out for sure.
CB, what about you?
So Resident Evil TV series on Netflix. It's a thing.
I'm sorry, man. Sorry you watched that.
Yeah. Hardcore. I just want to say, hardcores out there, just be forewarned. It's not what you think it is.
Yeah.
But it's still entertaining.
I was gonna say you liked it, I thought.
It's entertaining, but I'm just saying that there will be the hardcore fans out there that'll be like, what is this? Because it from the Mila Jovovich movies to the Welcome to Raccoon City one to this, like, it just feels like whoever touches this property
Doesn't
for
get
a
it.
TV or a movie format has no clue what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're all like the Halo show, and they're like, I refuse to play the source material.
Yeah.
By the way, I never watched more than one episode of that show, by the way.
I never even watched the first episode.
I haven't even seen it.
Yeah.
Um,
it's hard to get past the, like, we didn't even want to look at the source material at all. That's a bizarre thing to say.
I just can't unmask the Master Chief.
Where's our Silent Hill
Definitely
version
want to see him bang.
of Resident Evil? Like, it had
Like
even
a
some of the
totally
iconic
wacky.
shot angles. Like, I just thought that was really cool.
I would love a Silent Hill.
I want to go back
Silent
and
Hill thing.
rewatch Silent Hill again. I haven't watched that.
See,
in a while.
I think a Silent Hill TV series would be better than
Possibly.
any Resident Evil TV series.
It could be an anthology series, man. Every episode's a different character in the town, and the town distorts itself around them.
Yeah.
The stuff writes itself.
I know. It's bizarre. Like, they
Oh my
keep
God.
choosing the wrong properties to do.
Yo, Konami, you have our number. Let's get in touch.
As for me, I went back to the well for a really, really old show that I started watching. When I was on vacation, you don't really have a whole lot of options of television to watch, at night when you're trying to fall asleep, because I like to watch, TV when I'm falling asleep and I had no internet access. So I just had on the TV, see what was on, and they played an old episode of Cheers. I've never watched Cheers before.
Oh,
And
man.
So I just said, I wonder if Cheers is on Hulu. And I pulled it up, and lo and behold, all 4 seasons. There was only 4 seasons of Cheers. So I started watching that, and I'm really enjoying that. I think I'm going to go and watch through all of that. So
Ooh.
Well, I mean,
Well-
you're a sitcom fan. That makes checks out.
yeah. So
The-
I love sitcoms as well. I just started rewatching The Nanny, so I understand.
Fran Drescher?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I like that show when I was a kid, man.
But by the way, Scott, you are wrong.
Well, there's only 4 seasons on Hulu.
Because I actually rewatched the entire run of Cheers 3 years ago.
How many seasons is it?
It's 11 seasons.
Wow. Well,
And that's not
I-
including the 3 spin-off series.
Frasier.
I think it was
Wings.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize Wings was a spinoff of Cheers.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like, it's not like a direct, but it's like in the same universe type thing.
Right.
And then I can never remember the third one because it didn't last very long.
Yeah, the Tortellis.
Anyway.
the Tortellis. That was a show spinoff.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it was only a season or 2 though.
gotcha. Anyway.
But yeah, Cheers, phenomenal.
Well, I'm only going to make it through 4 seasons because that's
I
all
was-
that's on Hulu. But
I think I might be mistaken, but it might be a Paramount thing. It might be on Paramount Plus.
oh,
It's on one of the other ones.
okay.
yeah,
Because
yeah, it's somewhere in its entirety.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's a lot of seasons to watch, though.
It's a good show.
But still, yeah, it's highly entertaining. So
It kind of it set the format for the sitcom that's still being followed to this day.
that's a good point. I can totally see that from just a little bit I've watched so far. So, well, guys, thank you so much for joining me again for another episode. It was a lot of fun. It was good to get together with the two of you once again. It's been too long. We got to make sure this happens a little bit more often. And everybody out there, thank you so much for listening. The Gaming Outsider is produced by Nate Lucas, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemmage and Metroid Metal. You can find his website at stemmagemusic.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Chris Behrensmeyer, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.